It's now time for Party Chat Sports.
The only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
What is up, Party Chat Sports? Welcome back to the channel. It's one of your hosts, Caleb Gill, doing a solo podcast for you today. And honestly, might have been a mistake from the other three by just letting me do my own. Because we're going to talk about one of the most controversial quarterbacks, I would say, in our group chat. You can go on about, like, we give each other crap about Dak Prescott. Jalen Hurts gets a lot of grief. Anybody that starts for the Vikings, the Jets, the Steelers, like, they all get a fair amount of hate from between the four of us in the chat. But there's one guy that is very controversial, and it seems 50-50 on you love him or you hate him in the chat. And that's Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy. The reason it's a mistake that they let me do a solo pod today is because this is all going to be about why I think Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. I don't understand why that's such a controversial take. It shouldn't be. And I think, for starters, the thing that I believe really gets people going with Purdy is that last overall pick, that Mr. Irrelevant. If you love him or you hate him, you use that fact regardless. And it's, well, he is Mr. Irrelevant. The story of him making it as far as he's made it is a magnificent story. That is true. I can also see where it gets mentioned way too often. Like, you can't talk about Brock Purdy without mentioning the fact that he's Mr. Irrelevant. And the story just gets old, it gets overwhelming, and it's overtold. I understand that part. I do. But it is a fact, and I don't go around comparing quarterbacks to, or any player to, the greats. So I am not by any means comparing Brock Purdy to the greatest of all time. That hurts. Tom Brady. Sorry, I like heartburn and like a total shutdown after having to say a Patriots the greatest of all time. But he is. The only thing I'm going to compare him to, though, is the fact that they were both late-round quarterbacks. And if you ever turned on any game that Tom Brady was playing, you could have watched again. That could have been 2021, your first time ever watching an NFL game, and it was Tom Brady. Your takeaway, or what you would learn from that game, is the fact that Tom Brady was the 199th overall pick. It felt like every game he played throughout his 20-year career was mentioned. Now, maybe that's just because I'm a hater, so I harp on some things other than. But the point still stands that fact was mentioned very often, especially as we got later into Tom Brady's career, it felt like. So why is that being held against Brock Purdy? It's not his fault that whenever TV and production, they do their write-ups, they figure out the content they're going to come up with. They do their job in creating storylines. You cannot tell the story of Brock Purdy, no matter what happens the rest of his career, without saying that he was Mr. Irrelevant. And I think that hurts him in a lot of these arguments more than helps him, which is weird to me. If he were an undrafted free agent, I don't think as many people would hate it. If he was just taken in the 6th or 7th and he had this much success. But the fact that he was Mr. Irrelevant, and that term gets tossed around so often, I think that's what hurts him in a lot of arguments about how good or not he is. I'm a firm believer that he is good. Like, look at what he's done. If Trey Lance picked 3rd overall, had the same exact stats, the same career, everything the same as Brock Purdy. Okay? Went to a Super Bowl, lost a Super Bowl in overtime, like everything. If it was Trey Lance having identical to a T career as Brock Purdy, we wouldn't be talking about this for Trey Lance. We would be saying, yes, he has done everything that's been expected of him as a first overall pick. But for some reason, because he is Mr. Irrelevant, it's like the standard hire for him to be good blows my mind. Makes no sense to me. I'm going to get a lot of crap from two individuals in this chat for this entire episode, to be quite frank. It baffles me. Like, yes, I understand it. The media does overhype him a little bit. Is he top 5? No. Can he be? I think he could be. I think, working within the system, a lot of good quarterbacks, it's how are you in the system that you're in? Are you adaptable? And he is. He is. He works very well in the system. Say what you want. His rookie year, had he not been hurt, there's a chance that they make it to the Super Bowl. I still think the Eagles win that NFC Championship game, but it's not a total blowout like it was. If he had, if he was functionable as a quarterback, like that, Christian McCaffrey had to take wildcat snaps in that game just because they had nobody. All Purdy could do was hand the ball off. He was literally just there to hand the ball off at the end because he literally couldn't do anything else. He makes it to the Super Bowl. And then this year, yes, the Avengers fell. And they fell apart. Not quite Infinity War style, but they did kind of, I don't want to say fell back down to earth, but Deebo Samuel did take on the Thor role between Infinity War and Endgame by adding on a lot of weight. And he became useless. Brandon Ayuk, he might as well have just vanished up and turned into dust after he signed that contract. And that's on Purdy? Come on, give me a break. And then Christian McCaffrey gets hurt. And yet, Purdy is still top 12 in almost every QBR stat. So some of the stats, QBR is a good thing to look at, I think, when it compares quarterbacks to other quarterbacks. So QBR, he was 7th. 7th in the NFL in 2024. Despite offensive line issues, weapons malfunctioning, it wasn't the perfect season. In 2023, he was first in the league in QBR. Why are we holding this stuff against him? Just because he's thrown to guy? And I think the whole wide-ass open stuff, gets overplayed. You still... This idea that any quarterback can go into the Shanahan system and win has been proven false. Want to know how we know? Because Brock Purdy is a starting quarterback. Trey Lance failed. And at a minimum, the 49ers are paying Brock Purdy as a thank you. Hallelujah, you saved our asses. Because if it wasn't for Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch would be gone out of San Francisco. I think every 49ers fan probably understands that or feels that way. Because when they traded up with the Dolphins and drafted Trey Lance, their asses were on the line. And they were saved by Mr. Irrelevant. That's worth $53 million to the 49ers. And when you look at that contract, I'm going to share this screen real quick. If I could ever figure out how to share my screen and do it correctly. You look at his contract. His contract value. Look at where he ranks in terms of percentage of the cap. Like, the one thing a lot of people, including people in this chat, were saying about Brock Purdy getting his contract is that it's going to cripple the 49ers. It's not even 20% of the cap. Joe Burrow is almost a quarter of the cap for the Bengals, and yet they're still able to pay their offensive weapons. Now, they're going to struggle on defense, but they're still able to pay guys. Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and the Eagles, they just won a Super Bowl. And if you're telling me that you would rather have Deshaun Watson over Brock Purdy, Trevor Lawrence, Tua, you can make a case for Jared Goff over Purdy, but I'm still going to take Purdy over Goff. I'm going to take Purdy over Love. And he's still down here in terms of percentage of the cap. It's a 14th ring contract, and yet people are acting like they overpaid. That is the cost of doing business in the NFL. It is. The cost of having an NFL quarterback is not cheap. He's better than Derek Carr, who made 40-some million. He's better than some of those guys I just outlined. I take him over Tua. I take him over Trevor Lawrence. Dave haven't won anything. Brock Purdy's made it to 2 NFC Championship games. And you can say, he was carried. You still have to have a quarterback that can get you the ball, and he did. And he had better ball placement. Pause. Than people give him credit for. I'm trying to find. I had some other stats. So, from a clean pocket in 2024 of 10 to 19 air yards, he delivered a 76% catchable ball rate. That's 12th out of 39 for somebody that's supposed to be inaccurate. Where'd I see? I do think so. This stat is going to prove multiple people's points. When Brock Purdy, George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey are all healthy, they're 20-6 over the last 3 years. That's really the focal point of their offense. And then it's like, well, Gill, you just told me that Brock Purdy doesn't need the weapons. He still needs weapons to be good. The weapons, he's going into his 4th year. Of course he's going to need help. You can't expect him to be Superman immediately. Patrick Mahomes sat for a year. Josh Allen was 2 years in. He really didn't look like the guy until year 3. Lamar Jackson sat for a little bit. Why does it matter that his 2nd year he had some help? Why do other guys not get punished for needing help, but he does? Joe Burrow is throwing to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Why is he not penalized for that? Patrick Mahomes was throwing to Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce to start his NFL career. Why wasn't he not punished for that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is the last pick in the draft held to a higher standard than everybody else? It feels like that. That's the way it looks like to me. That because he is the last pick in the draft, he's under more of a microscope. And I just think everybody is so hung up on draft status or pre-draft analysis that you're just waiting to be proven right instead of enjoying the story that's being told. Why can't people just enjoy the fact that a guy went from not one pick away from not being drafted at all, he was right there, to leading his team to a Super Bowl? Yes, he led that team to a Super Bowl. And did they fumble the bag at the end? Yes. They were 3rd and goal, could have had it. A little miscommunication between him and Debo, and the rest is history. But why is he held to a higher standard than everybody else? Because everybody's waiting for him to fail. That's the way it looks like to me. Why? And then I get, well, I'm just waiting for him to do some good without everybody else. He didn't have everybody last year. PFF still had him like top 10 in the NFL. He still had, was this last year's? I mean, I already told you his QBR from last year was 12. And that's with Jawan Jennings as his best guy. No shot at Jawan Jennings, but everybody else is gone. His offensive line was decimated. He's constantly having to move. I think his mobility is underrated and doesn't get talked about enough. His arm strength. He's got a better deep ball than people give him credit for. If you look at total QBR since he's been in the league, it's third. Since he's become a starter, he's had the third best QBR in the NFL. And yet I'm supposed to believe he's not worth the $53 million when guys like Trevor Lawrence and Jordan Love and Tua Tagovailoa are all making more. Kyler Murray. Give me a break, man. Now, if the argument is that quarterbacks shouldn't be making that much, that's a whole different conversation. But the cost of doing business, the cost of having a starting quarterback is at least $50 million a year. And when you look at his contract, it's not even top 10 in terms of, I look at that cap percentage. Because that really dictates how much flexibility or you do or do not have. And the 49ers have more flexibility than originally led on. Like, you see $53 million cap hit. It's like, all right, well, they're cooked. And then they re-sign Fred Warner. This was after they already had re-signed George Kittle. Like, they have their core guys. I think the 49ers are going to be a better team than people expect. They're getting... It's almost like they have the band back together with, like, Robert Saleh on the defensive side. They should be better defensively this year. And honestly, it's probably best case scenario for Brock Purdy to not have the expectations. Because the 49ers were this juggernaut. I get it. Because they did have Christian McCaffrey. Deebo Samuel was a guy. I don't know if he was ever a number one guy. Like, he had the 1 year that Kyle Shanahan had him running around everywhere. But Brandon Ayuk was solid. But I never felt the 49ers had a true number one. Which always blew my mind with the 49ers were referred to as the Avengers a lot in Party Chat Sports. I thought they had really good number twos, like a bunch of T. Higgins everywhere, but they didn't have a Jamar Chase. And yet, Brock Purdy was carried by everybody. The whole Brock Purdy conversation just blows my mind. Like, why can't we just enjoy the fact, outside of being a 49ers hater and just a hater in general, why can we not enjoy the fact that this kid wasn't even supposed to be here? The 49ers took him because, like, why not? They had Jimmy Garoppolo, who was supposed to be the backup to Trey Lance. Trey Lance was supposed to be the starter. And then Brock Purdy comes in and saves the day. Like, God forbid. And ultimately, I put more fault. If the 49ers fail this year, it won't be Brock Purdy's fault. There is an avid Party Chat Sports listener Jamon McKinney, shout out, that is a huge Kyle Shanahan hater and believes he is very overrated. And in some aspects, I kind of agree. Because Kyle Shanahan is a known choke artist. I was trying to come up with a good joke, but I'm not going to make a decent PG-13 joke for that one. But you look at games that he's been involved in, that notably 28-3. the Super Bowl. Both Super Bowls, actually. Chiefs 49ers Part 1, Chiefs 49ers Part 2. They choked. There was the NFC Championship game against the Rams. Was it the NFC title? Or was it just a division round? A playoff game against the Rams. And those are just the notable ones. Like, that's who Kyle Shanahan is. That's another reason why Purdy got this contract, because he saved their asses. And, again, I just don't understand the amount of hate Brock Purdy gets. Is he Patrick Mahomes? No. Nobody else is. So if you don't... But then, some people will argue, well, if you don't have if you don't have a top 5 guy, then why are you paying somebody? Well, because Jalen Hurts just won the Super Bowl. That's why. You can still win Super Bowls without a Patrick Mahomes, without a Tom Brady. It can still be done. And if you have your guy, and I think the 49ers do, it makes everything else easier. And some of the, he's throwing to wide open guys. Yeah, but sometimes that's just the scheme. Like, you can't fault him for the scheme. I just don't think there's a lot of things with Purdy that's not his fault. And the fact that they were bad last year was not on Purdy. What were his stats last year? Sorry. I'm trying to find the one thing that I saw. He was tied for 15th in touchdowns. Mediocre. That's fine. 10th in passing yards, and that's without a lot of those key guys throughout the year. So despite the injuries, he still maintained like top 10 rankings for the touchdowns, QBR. It's... You look at some of his 49ers records. Like, he set single-season records for passing yards for the 49ers in 2023 and passer rating with 113. But he was carried. He holds NFL records for the most games with passer ratings over 115, 120, 130 in a player's first 3 years. But yet, he was carried. It just, why, again, and I keep coming back to this, why can we not appreciate a guy that went from the last overall pick to a $53 million contract, deserving of a $53 million contract when you look at the rest of the guys that are paid more? The players love him. Like, George Kittle has been an avid, a guy that's gone through a couple different quarterbacks, I would say. Avid Brock Purdy lover. I mean, I have some Purdy highlights I'm watching. And yes, there's some guys that are, like, they look open on a screen, but when you're reading the field, it's like the anticipation. People that are stuck in their own ways, too. That's the other thing that's difficult for me, is that, you know, you can sit there and argue. Oh my God, that was a dot. You can sit there and argue one way or another. Two guys in this chat are going to make every argument against Brock Purdy. And I'll listen. I'm not going to agree. Let's do this fun exercise real quick to wrap every NFL starting QB 2025. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen again. And let's hope this is going to give me what I want it to. Okay. So the Seahawks, would I take Brock Purdy over Sam Darnold? Yes. I would. I mean, he was a starter over Sam Darnold for a reason. He's younger. I just don't think he's more turnover prone than Purdy. Ultimately, I'm going to take Purdy over Darnold. And I'm a big Darnold lover. Like, I love Darnold. I just couldn't last year because he was a Viking. I'm taking Purdy over Geno Smith, and I'm a big Geno Smith guy too. I think Geno Smith's going to have a really good year with the Raiders. I think they added a lot of nice pieces around him after bringing him in. But I'm going to take Brock Purdy over Geno. I'm going to take Brock Purdy over Justin Fields. It's crazy that the first three were Jets. Give me Brock Purdy over anybody that starts on the Giants. Give me Purdy over anybody that starts on the Colts. Give me Purdy over anybody that starts on the Browns. Give me Purdy over anybody that starts on the Steelers. Like, I don't care if it's Mason Rudolph or Aaron Rodgers. In 2025, I'm taking Brock Purdy. Oh, these are all quarterback battles. That's what this is. Still isn't even going to get me what I want exactly. Primary starting quarterback from the 2020. So I'll take Lamar. I'll take Allen, Burrow. Those three over Purdy. I think I would take Purdy over Goff. Age, especially this year, Goff's going to have a new system. Give me Purdy over Goff. So I have three guys at the moment that I am taking over Purdy. I already mentioned I'm taking Purdy over Darnold. Baker, I think I would take Purdy. That's a toss-up. Baker doesn't get the love he deserves. Give me Baker as a toss-up. Jaden Daniels, too soon. Too soon. I will not count last year's rookies because I think it's too soon. Patrick Mahomes, of course, I'm going to take Mahomes over Purdy. I'm going to take Herbert over Purdy. I already mentioned I'm going to take Purdy over Geno. I'm definitely going to take Purdy over Love. I'm going to take Stafford. I'm going to take Purdy over Stafford. So we're at 5. I think I'm going to take Purdy over Hurts. Over Bo. Like, you look at Tua. Dak is a toss-up for me. CJ Stroud, I'll probably take Stroud, but I'm not even 100% confident in that. There's not a lot of guys I'm taking over Purdy. So that's kind of where I stand at the moment. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this pod. Let me know what you think about Brock Purdy. Is he overrated? Is he underrated? Is he properly rated? I think, depending on who you ask, I lean more so he's properly rated. I think he's closer to top 10 than he is bottom 10. So I just wanted to rant a little bit about Brock Purdy because that's been on my mind. I don't know if I did the most effective job at defending him, but again, let me know what you think about the guy. Let me know what else you want to see from us at Party Chat Sports. We're going to try doing more content this summer, but let us know. We are on TikTok, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube. We are wherever you get your podcast. So check us out anywhere and everywhere, all at Party Chat Sports. Until next time, peace.